So what good is an admin dashboard if we're not doing some form of an aggregation to show our administrators how we're doing? So let's aggregate some numbers, maybe like our total movie count, user count, and the like, to show on our dashboard. So we can go back into our dashboard controller and start aggregating. So first, let's go ahead and just do our total movie count. So we'll do const movie count equals await, and we can use our movie model to query dot count, and let's just count the ID column, as that will uniquely identify a movie. Now this will return back an array, and then the movie count will be inside of the first array index extras object. So what we can do is just grab the first or fail there, and that will allow us to just do movies count dot extras dot, and let's give this, say, an alias of count, so that we can just do dot count. Let's provide that into our page state. So movies count. Oh, okay. Let's make both of those names match. There we go. Jump on down to our dashboard page, and let's do div class flex items center justify around, add a gap of 4. And you know what? Let's also let these wrap, so we can do flex wrap too. Okay, let's do now another div class flex call div class text extra large, and this is where our number will go. And then we'll have a div class text slate, maybe 400, text extra small, font bold, and this is where our label will go. Actually, let's make this just LG rather than extra large, so that we're not copying and pasting this for each stat that we do. We can scroll on down to our components, right click that, new file, and we do a stat folder with an index.edge inside of it, and we can now paste that inside of here. Inside of our number div, we can now do value dot to local string, and then we can do label for our label. Jump back into our dashboard, and we can now get rid of that and just do at stat label total movies value is our movies count dot extras dot, and it should be named count. And this is a self-closing tag, so we also need to add an exclamation point there to assert that. Cool. So let's go ahead and jump into our browser and see what we have. Cool. So it looks like we have 420 total movies. If you really wanted to, you could also jump into your dashboard controller, filter down these individually by released, not yet released, releasing soon, or just generally by the overall status of the movie as well. Let's also grab our writers and directors counts. So writers count equals await, and this we'll want to reach for our Synist model query, where has movies written, and this expects just a query callback of some sort, but we don't need to filter that down any further, so we'll just leave that as is. We can give that a copy, paste that one more time for our directors count, and instead of where has movies written, this will be where has movies directed. Let's add that into our page state as well. So writers count and directors count, just like so. Jump into our dashboard page, give this stat here a copy and a paste 2 times, total writers and total directors. And then this will be our writers count, and this will be our directors count. Give that a save, and we can check that out in the browser now. And cannot read properties of undefined reading count. Oh yeah, no, we forgot to count it all together. My bad. Okay, dashboard controller. We just did the whereas. What we need to do now after the whereas is also count it by the Synist ID. There we go. And then we'll also want to do first or default, whereas count ID dot first or fail. Cool. All right, let's go give that a test one more time. So jump back in here, refresh. There we go. So we have 420 movies, 109 writers, and 108 directors. Now within our stat, we did 2 local string, but I think these are probably already coming through as string, and our intention there was to format. So let's go jump back into our stat here, and I'm just gonna do a quick type of value, and let's get rid of the 2 local string here momentarily just to see what this is coming through as. I bet you it's a string. Yep, sure is. Okay, so let's switch this to parse int value, and we'll default that to 0 if it's not provided, and then we'll convert it to a local string. And of course we can get rid of our type of there as well. And what this 2 local string is doing is, let's say we had something like 1500 as our number. It's going to take that number and it'll convert it into a legible string, so it's adding in the comma there for us. So that's our intention with that. Furthermore, if all of our counts are going to come through as extras.count, we can go ahead and normalize that all together as well by just moving that into our stat component. That is completely up to you, and that is a design decision. We'll go ahead and move forward with it here because all of ours should match that. So it'll just simplify things a little bit here for us. Give that a save, and let's double check everything. I think this error is from before we actually saved the dashboard page. So let's give it a refresh for sanity's sake. And sure enough, it was. Okay, cool. Hide that back away. All right, so we should have a pretty good premise on how we can count overall items. So we'll leave users out here and move onward. So let's go ahead and now count the total number of movies watched. So for this, we can do const watched movies count equals await. And we can reach for our watch list, as that's what discerns that. Query where not null watched at. Go ahead and count the ID of our watch lists, as we can only ever have one watch list per user per movie. So that should be distinct. And then we can do first or default to keep with our theme. And it does look like the default name for count is count, as our directors and writers counts have been working. So we can go ahead and get rid of the alias here as well. And then let's add our movies watch list count into our page state. So watched movies count. Jump into our dashboard, and we could do at stat label movies watched value watch movies count. Give that a save, and let's go check that out real quick. There we go. So 6 movies have been watched out of a total of 420 movies that we have, comprised of 108 total writers and 109 total directors. I did that backwards. 109 total writers and 108 total directors. There we go.